Hello class, my name is Dr. Rademacher and I'm here to give you an introduction and welcome you to Physics 1010. What I wish to do is give a quick overview of what each week entails and go over some of the major elements of this course. First off, always be aware of the announcements. They change every week and they can give valuable information as to what is required each week and anything else upcoming. Secondly, place attention to questions for the professor. This is an area where you'll want to post questions for the general course and not really week specific. Also, remember that the academic expectations section must be signed before you move on to week 1. This tells me that you've read all of the announcements as well as all the policies in the syllabus and elsewhere in the course. In short, make sure that you read everything in Course Home before diving into the course, even if you've had online courses before, so as to be sure that you are familiar with the uniquenesses of the course. In particular, please pay attention to the policy on plagiarism. This is a very important policy and very relevant in this science course because we will have lots of discussions and we want to make sure that the answers are yours. And I will give a couple of ideas of how to assure this later on in this talk. As well, make sure to understand the late work grading policies. In this class, everything is given a due date on the assignment page and will be graded within 48 hours of that due date period. Therefore, if something is due on Saturday and you turn it in on Sunday, it might be graded late unless you've talked to me before. Also, please notice the most important thing, two important things about the late work policy is one, that the discussions can never be graded beyond the week that they are due, and secondly, that there are exceptions to the late work policy, and that is talking with me. So if you know you're going to be late with an assignment, please let me know as soon as possible so that way I can make special dispensations and we can work it out together. Grading is also a very important thing to notice. Notice the grading scale, very common for the Art Institute, and therefore, just familiarize yourself with that again. There's a lot of other policies in here, and I recommend that you read absolutely every one, of course, including the attendance policy, so that you know that you're fulfilling that. Please note that if you do not fulfill attendance, you may get a notice from your advisor or from some other section of the Art Institute, and failure to attend on a regular basis could actually lead to dismissal from the course. Okay, with that in mind, let's go on to week 1 and look at some of the features there, since this is the week we will be spending this week. Week 1 assignment 1 discussion is where the introductions are, and as we can see here, we already have quite a few introductions. And here is the due date for this introduction, currently by today. So today is the first day, and by today you have to have an autobiography up. You'll also see mine, and you have to respond to other people. Make sure to always read this section in all the assignments. And let me make that relevant because week 2 assignment is a discussion. Now this is there every single week. You will have a discussion. Every single week we must be active in this. And notice the grading criteria. Using terminology and effectively communicating concepts. This means that I do not want statements like, oh, I think it is like this, or things that do not use physics. This is a physics class, and as such, I expect you to use scientific terminology and to use research. This is not an opinion-based class, so if you have anything that you present on the discussion, it must be validated by either lectures or outside sources. The second section is support ideas with textual, visual, or oral references or example. And there's 3 main ways that you can do this. One is by providing diagrams, either created by yourself or from the web. 2, by providing equations, calculations that support the points that you're doing mathematically. Or 3, by references to other sites or other places where you got the information. Please remember that any time that you post an answer, and it comes from another site, you must reference it as APA format. Do not cut and paste sections from other websites and pass them off as your own, as that is considered plagiarism and is a very serious offense. Another fourth of the point is spelling, punctuation, and logic. So I need you, to be conversant and generally polite with everybody else. And perhaps the most important one is the participation grade, which asks you to reply to other students, at least two other students, in a meaningful way. Now, what this means is that posts such as, "Oh, I thought that was a great post, good job," or "I really learned a lot from your post," are not meaningful. They do not add any information to the discussion, and they basically short-circuit it. So what we really want is, "Oh, I found that point that you made very useful. Here's something you didn't consider." Or, "That is a very interesting point you made on topic A. Here's some further information on topic A." These would be meaningful. These would carry the discussion forward. Questions are also very useful. So if you have questions about what the student did or their opinion on that, that's also valid. But the participation grade is very important for the course. And please note that interactions with me do not count as participation. I will constantly be giving you feedback and we'll have a back and forth. But please notice that it says to at least two other students. Well, it doesn't say students, but that's what's meant. So please, when you participate with the class, and do not think that participation with me will fulfill this grade. Now, this grading criteria is every week for these assignment 2 discussions, and so the sooner that you get familiar with the 4 parts: 1, using proper concepts and proper terminology; 2, providing supplementary material; 3, using proper logic and proper grammar; and 4, participating with others. The sooner you get those under your belt, the easier the course will be, as you will find that you'll get into a rhythm. Remember, this is only a 5.5-week course. And this is an accelerated physics course, so it is a very fast and very interesting introduction to physics. And so the sooner we get, the rhythm of things, the better. Each week also has a laboratory, which has a different grading criteria. Okay, one is of course completing the lab accurately, and then the evidence of personal response, including effective communication of all ideas, which means that basically very much half of the grade is based on my subjective view of how you're answering the question. By this I mean, if you only spend one sentence answering a question, that's not very good. That's not very effective communication of your own ideas. On the other hand, if you can answer a question by using personal examples, maybe hobbies, maybe personal experiences, that is a fantastic way of getting the lab done. And then of course we have problems and solutions, which is where you'll want to post in order questions about this week. So if you have any questions about kinematics, vectors, measurements, etc., they should be posted in the problems and solutions. If you're going to be late with work, if you have any general questions about the course, that should go in questions for the professor. And as we will move on to week 2, so you can see that the pattern then replicates itself. You have the lectures up front, week 1 discussion, which asks you to, under the same grading criteria, a lab, and then starting in week 2, we have a quiz, which is basically just right or wrong answers. The quizzes are timed. You have 4 hours, more than enough time. If in fact you do get disconnected, please reconnect, and you should still have time. The clock will still be running, but you should still have time to complete it. On the chance that you get disconnected and could not complete in time or could not reconnect within the 4 hours, please send me an email, and I'll be sure to look over your situation and more than likely grant you time. So once again, the most important key to success for this class, as you can see by several of the items in this course, is communication. Talking to me is the best way to get the most out of this class and to make sure that the class is enjoyable. Talking to other students is the best way to really get a student side appreciation of the course. A lot of students can give you a perspective that perhaps I have not, and that is very helpful. And then the other key to success is consistency and rhythm. After week 2 and onwards, it's always going to be a discussion, a lab, and a quiz. Discussion, lab, quiz, discussion, lab, quiz, spread out with due days during the week, which are strictly enforced. And the sooner you get into the rhythm of doing these, the easier the class will be. Let me end this introduction by reiterating that communication with me is essential for success. Should you run into any troubles, should work be turned in late, or any difficulty that you encounter, please let me know before the fact. I don't want to learn that you were sick with a cold and that's why you didn't do any work during the week and find that out a week later. That is not very acceptable, and there's very little that I can do. So please help yourselves to the course and click everything. You can't do any harm. And once again, I want to welcome you to the course. And for the next 5.5 weeks, we'll be diving into physics and science. Should be a very enjoyable course for all of us. And I thank you for your time and look forward to interacting with you online. Bye-bye.